So today is Thursday. I have the day off of work today and tomorrow. Just taking a little time to slow down. I find that it's really important for me to separate time out for stillness and some solitude. In doing that, I am reminded that as much as I really want to get my book done quickly, and I know my goal is to get at least the first book done, a rough draft done this year. I find that also kind of goes against the whole idea of this channel with authentic story making, to rush things just for the sake of getting them done and getting them out. Getting a story done and out as quickly as possible works a little bit against the idea of authentic story making. See, I want to produce stories that are quality, and I'm finding that to do that, it takes a lot of work, a lot of energy, a lot of time. I've been spending a lot of time reworking the first, I would say, 3 to 4 chapters of my story. I've gotten farther than that. I have probably 58 pages right now of manuscript, but I keep going over and reworking those first 3 chapters just because I'm not quite satisfied with where they're at yet. And as much as I get discouraged about how much it slowed me down, I'm finding that it is important to give the time that is required if I want to really achieve a story of the kind of depth that I am after. I've said it quite a bit on this channel already. I don't want to just write another story. I don't want to just produce quantity. I want to produce quality stories. And this past week, my grandpa made it home. I don't say we lost him because it's only a temporary thing, but he crossed the river. He made it into the city of the king, the shining city. To think the people he's reuniting with and the celebratory welcome. I just think of the kind of country that his eyes are beholding. What kind of colors and such a higher definition. Blu-ray could not even come close to the kind of definition of sight. More than likely the heightened sensories of touch, smell, taste, and hearing. So I've been thinking today, with the ability to slow down and sit out on my front porch, take in the smells that the sun is bringing out of the wood and the porch and the grass and the trees. Just think about, again, why I'm writing, the importance of stories and world building. And that's why, for one thing, I don't want to rush the project I'm working on. I do want to stay diligent with it. I want to stay committed to it. I just think of the testimony of someone who's finally been running the race for so long, then making that pilgrim's journey, and then finally arriving at that country. That's one of the things that makes story so powerful and important. It makes the process of the journey, for us who are still a part of it and undergoing it, it makes it all the more real and full of meaning and purpose. It's a gift, I think, to be able to view this life as an adventure, as a quest, as a journey homeward. It's really in moments like these two of reflection and thinking back on memories that it just becomes so much more true to me. Kind of what Gandalf said in the Hobbit movie, the importance and the power and the strength of those small, everyday, simple things. Little acts of love that you remember, You look back on a lifetime of a relationship with someone, and how it is those little ordinary day magical moments that mean the most, that hold the most power in the end. It's really true. I just remember times that stand out to me are all like sunny summer days or holiday evenings. Nothing truly exciting or big happening, but it was family together in the same room, or maybe working out in the shed on my grandpa's farming ventures. I remember the excitement of standing out on the back deck as evening was drawing on and watching the road for Grandma and Grandpa to be coming up for our early Thanksgiving. See, we would always do a Thanksgiving before the Thanksgiving day with just our family and our grandparents. I just remember the feeling of excitement watching for them to drive up that road to start the traditional meal. I remember how excited I was always to show them our Christmas tree after it was decorated. Remember the time when we were all of us cousins were quite young, and Grandpa dressed up as Horatio Hornblower, a pirate, and they put on a treasure hunt. Just how much he got into that act. I can think of all those evenings where we would watch interesting videos on the possibility of prophecy fulfillments or what was going on over in Israel, and just those simplest times, summer afternoons, sitting down to lunch, and inevitably Grandma and Grandpa would show up. And I'm realizing those are the kind of stories that I love most. The ordinary, human, apparently insignificant, that really do affect the cosmic. How easy it is to be grateful for the sacrifice that Jesus made to make it possible for this kind of love to continue on forever, those kind of relationships to never end, to open the doorway to the place, the eternal realm, and the eternal continuation of relationship and joy. Growing up in a Christian household, I remember always wanting to feel that gratefulness for what Jesus had done for all of us. But it's when it really comes down to having people that I know and love make it to that other side, I actually can feel that gratefulness without even having to try. So, in that way, what a gift. I just think how all the stories that I love, all the adventures, all of the worlds, how it all really just points to that simple truth, the truth of eternity, and the importance of that choice now of where we're going to spend it. All those things that we find longing for that are awakened in us through reading stories, it's pointing to that which we are meant for and created for, that which has been bought for us. I just like to think of what higher mountains and what clearer rivers my grandpa is seeing right now. What greener grass, as fantastical a place as any story I've ever read about. And that realization that it's not a dream, it's a reality. I think it's important to find out those things that help us actually have the energy and the inspiration and the wherewithal to actually sit down and write and to gain that creativity. And I'm finding for me, it is very important. Maybe it's just because I'm an introvert, but the ability to recharge and just have that quiet solitude, to set aside time to actually just sit by myself, get away from my phone, get away from my computer, get away from work, let the stress kind of roll off. I find consistently that the creativity will just start flowing. If I could just remember to give time to the quiet, I think I will be able to produce quality quicker if I can stick with that, give time to that. So I don't know what it is for you guys, if that kind of thing just varies based on personality, and I know everyone's different. It'd be interesting to hear what it does. What does it for you all? What sparks that creativity in you guys? But I think consistently for me, yes, I do find it from reading, but I think the most important thing, the most productive, fruitful thing is just being still. I think it was one of the last vlogs that I did when I talked about that I was actually starting book 2 at the same time as I was working on book 1. That kind of came out of one of those moments. I was trying to take a nap, just laying in the quiet, and the creativity just struck from that. So man, if I could really get a hold of this idea, I think that my story will just start booming. I think of how in a lot of my earlier writing, and I still tend to fall into this, I have to make my writing sensational and wow factor. G.K. Chesterton, I've been reading a lot in his books lately, and he talked about how it is the ordinary character that makes that world, that story, fantastic. The very fact that that character is ordinary and so much like we are, that makes the world larger, that makes things more wonderful and fantastic. And because of the ordinariness of that character, the wildness of the world is all the more amazing. And I think even reflected in our own real lives, the more we can recognize and grab hold of and appreciate the ordinary every day, the more our eyes will be opened to the wonder of the creation around us. And the more I just sit here and think about the power of the ordinary, the magic of the ordinary, the more I realize that's where the real power of life is. I grew up very much longing for the ability to live in a Book of Acts kind of world where the miraculous is an everyday occurrence, the wow miraculous. But I'm finding that the true miraculous, the most powerful miraculous, is in those everyday, ordinary life events. It just hits home to me that is more powerful to me than all of the extraordinary, life-altering events. And that's how I want to live this journey of life, to be able to recognize increasingly every day more and more that simple truth, and to be able to walk and live in the moment that I'm in. Because in retrospection and looking back on life thus far, I've had things in my life that were big events and amazing things, but for some reason I can't think of them right now. In a time like this, all that I can think of, and that is the sweetest to me, are those simple times. So everyone, a pretty simple vlog here, not a whole lot filmed, not a whole lot to entertain, but just very much giving time to reflection. And so thank you guys for watching, for tuning in. I really appreciate everyone who has subscribed and is watching and is commenting. Yeah, it's a great community, and thank you guys so much. See you on the next one.